So we are now going to work on our 5th section, and we have completed the pink, peach, and pink section, as well as this blue section on the pattern, which is our yellow section on the actual blanket. And so now we're going to work on this pink, blue, and second pink section up here. Okay, so you want to make sure that when you start, that you're starting with the right side facing up. So that's with this stitch marker that I have in the bottom right corner of the blanket, and that's where we started, is the bottom right corner of the blanket. Okay, so we will find the very most corner stitch, and I'll just zoom in so you can see. It seems to be about right here. Okay, and then we will grab our pink yarn, pull through, we will chain up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And this is starting to get a little bit big, so I'm going to have to fold and maneuver this differently. So we are going to double crochet into the 4th, 5th, and 6th chain from the hook. We've done that many times before, so I don't think I need to explain too much there. And we'll just tighten that a little bit loose. And then we will join, oops, we want to join in between these 2 blocks. And I'm going to show you again, and I'll just use my loom hook to show you where we're going to insert our hook, right in here. Okay, so in between these 2 blocks, and we'll just insert our hook into there. Slip stitch, and there we have our next block started. And so we'll do as we've been doing. We'll chain 3, oops. And sometimes these stitches can be a little bit hard to find, especially if you are a tight crocheter like I am. There we go. Slip stitch, chain 3, we will turn our work, we'll zoom back out a little bit, and then we will do 3 double crochets, join with a slip stitch into this next section here, chain 3, 3 double crochet. So as you can see, again, that is nice and straight. And so we will chain up 6, double crochet in the 4th, 5th, and 6th chain from the hook and continue on. And I will meet you when we get to about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. To about the 8th row, I will come back and I will show you how to finish off this square section. So we're just finishing up row 8. So I'm just going to finish this stitch. Okay, so to finish row 8, we're going to slip stitch, chain 3, and 3 double crochets. And so the next section, or the next square here, which will be our 9th row for this small pink section here, we'll do that in just a minute, but I just want to go over again that each of these individual squares is 9 by 9 C2C squares. So this 2-part section here is actually 9 by 18 squares, and this blue section, which is actually the yellow section in our actual blanket, is 9 by 27 squares. And so this little square here is going to be just 9 by 9. So I hope that was straightforward and made sense to you. So we are going to go ahead and finish this row here, and then I'll show you how to square off on here, and then we'll begin decreasing on both sides, and then we'll meet back at the end. So feel free to pause or skip ahead if you need to. We're going to chain 6, 4, 5, 6. Going to turn our work. And double crochet into the 4th, 5th, and 6th chain to start our 9th row. Join with a slip stitch, three double crochets, so I'm gonna stop right here and I will meet you when we get to the second last C2C square of the previous row. So we are approaching the end of row 9, and I'll just finish these last few C2C squares. And so for our last one, it's going to be pretty much the same. We're going to slip stitch into that chain 3 space, chain 3, and then 3 double crochets in that chain 3 space. 1, 2, and 3. And so we do want to join this C2C square with this C2C square here, and so we'll just slip stitch into Let me just zoom in here so we can see. It's the same as before. We're just going to slip stitch into that hole right there. Slip stitch. And so now we are going to start decreasing on each side. So we'll decrease up here as well as here. So to start the decrease here, we're going to chain 3, slip stitch into that chain 3 space right here, and then we'll continue along, and then when we get to the end we'll decrease here, and then we'll decrease until we join at the end. So I'll go over how to do that. We're going to chain 3, 2, 3, and then we're going to turn our work and slip stitch into this chain 3 space right here. Let me just zoom in so we are sure that we got the right one. Right here. Insert your hook, yarn over, slip stitch, and then we will chain 3 and 3 double crochets into that same chain 3 space as before. And again, don't worry, this part, this little bump that's sticking out, it will straighten out when we come back to do the next one. So we will just continue across, and I will meet you when we get to the end of this row. So we're at the end of this row, and we'll finish this second last stitch with a slip stitch, chain 3, and 3 double crochets. And then into this last C2C square on the end, we will join with a slip stitch. And now to square this off, we're going to chain 3, we will turn our work, and then slip stitch into this chain 3 space right here. And that will square off this section quite nicely. So we will chain 3 and then 3 double crochet into that same chain 3 space. And I'm probably sounding like a broken record now, but this will pucker out a little bit, but will straighten out when we come back on the next row. And so you're going to continue going back and forth, decreasing on both sides until we get to this corner section, and I will meet you when we are at our second last row. So we're just finishing up these last few rows, and by now you probably know what to do. So I just chained 3, we're going to slip stitch into this first chain 3 space. So now we have a nice straight edge, and we'll chain 3, 3 double crochets, Next one, join with a slip stitch, chain 3, 3 double crochets, and we'll join with a slip stitch to close this row off. Okay, so now we're going to chain 3 and finish that edge. Chain 3, turn our work, join with a slip stitch, chain 3, 3 double crochets, join with a slip stitch, and so we just need to square off this edge here, and we will do that with a chain 3, turn our work, and join with a slip stitch. And so now we have a really nice straight edge on every side here.